Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Now the Marvel's Avengers Beta has been live for 2 days now, and as promised, I would give you guys my impressions on the beta. Now keep in mind, this is not a review. I'm not like reviewing the entire game or anything. I'm going to save that for when the actual game comes out. But these are my impressions on the beta and the gameplay so far. The full game releases in just a month, and this beta gives us a pretty good idea of what the final product is going to play and look like. And going into this game, I've been pretty hyped. I've watched all of the War Table events, I've seen a lot of gameplay, so I was just super excited to finally get the chance to get my hands on this game. And to be honest, it's got some pluses and it's got some minuses. So I think I'm going to go over some of the things that I enjoyed first. So for starters, I want to say that this game, just straight up front, it's a lot of fun. Especially if you play with friends, it makes it even better, but I mean, that could be said for most video games. But this just really amplifies the experience. If you have just 1 or 2 or 3 friends, it actually feels like a scene that you would see in like the Avengers movie. It's just complete chaos. Bodies are getting thrown, explosions are going off. You can pull off some mean combos with your friends. I mean, it's just an absolute blast. I got to play with my friend Cookie for just maybe an hour, and we had a lot of fun together. And another huge plus to this game is, let's say you don't have very many friends, or your friends just aren't online, but you still want to play the game. Well, you can either do matchmaking, which is a huge plus. You can just play with random people on the internet. Or you can have the AI take over, which the AI uses the same exact level heroes that you have. So if your Hulk is level 10 and your Black Widow is level 6, well then the AI will take the spot and it will be your exact Black Widow and your Hulk. And as for that AI, they actually do a pretty good job. I've only seen them bug out just a couple times. They're normally on top of all the fighting. They're down there kicking butt. They can take a huge beating. I couldn't tell you how many times I've been knocked down and they just run over and revive me and they can still keep fighting. So the AI teammates are actually really good. In some cases, they're better than real humans. So I think they nailed the AI for the most part. There's some problems with them that they could probably fine tune by the time that the game comes out. But for the most part, the AI teammates are pretty good. And then another huge plus is just the whole replayability aspect. Every single character in this game feels and plays different from one another. Iron Man doesn't feel the same as Hulk. Hulk and Black Widow are obviously different. Kamala and Black Widow are different. Every single character is different. They all have their own movesets. So if you want to play through the game and you want to level up the Incredible Hulk, and then you get tired of Hulk, you have the option to go back and then level up Iron Man. You essentially can play the game just over and over and over and just grind through all the different heroes and get their different abilities, and it is an absolute blast. Some of the hero skill trees are really cool. Iron Man's by far is my favorite. Iron Man just has a huge arsenal of different abilities. He has laser beams, rockets, repulsors. His ultimate ability is the Hulkbuster armor. He can fly. I mean, there's just tons of different things that Iron Man can do. And honestly, at first, I didn't like Iron Man. I thought he felt extremely clunky, and he just didn't feel smooth at all. Like, his abilities just didn't work in tangent with one another. But once you play with Iron Man over and over, and you figure out his combos and his abilities, and once you can figure out how to fly, because the flying is a little bit tricky at first, once you practice enough with Iron Man, he's just an absolute blast. He's one of my favorite heroes in the beta so far, and I will probably main Iron Man when the full game comes out. So the skill trees are really well designed, and it really just depends on the hero. Like, Iron Man's skill tree is based around his gadgets, but for like the Incredible Hulk, for example, his are based off of like doing more damage and pulling off like bigger combo moves. So I think they did a really good job of just designing and making all these characters feel unique from one another. And then for the graphics, I mean, they look good. They're not horrible. They're not the greatest I've ever seen. I mean, they're pretty good. I'm happy with the way that the game looks. I think it looks pretty good. This game has a photo mode, which is also really cool. I'm all for anything that has photo modes. So if you're one of those people that like to take screenshots like I do, you're probably going to be pretty excited with the photo mode. It is a pretty basic photo mode. It doesn't let you go too far from the character, but still that feature is there, and I was using it a little bit to get different screenshots to use for thumbnails. And then for the level design and the enemies and stuff, there is a wide variety of different enemies. It's hard to tell if it gets repetitive or not. It starts to get a little stale once you play the same missions over and over and over in the beta, because you're kind of limited to what you can do. I've played the one same mission like 6 or 7 times, and you can just fly straight through and beat it in like 2 minutes. So some of the design options are a little weird. Some missions you can beat in literally 2 or 3 minutes if you fly straight through and just do the objective, and others can take you up to like 20 minutes to a half an hour. It really just depends on the level. So I don't understand what they were going for with some of these missions. It feels like some of the missions are just tacked on, but for the most part, I like the level design and I like the amount of enemies. There's like tons of different robot options, tons of different turrets, humans, they have different weapons. There's cryo weapons, there's like acid launchers. Some of the robots have like staffs, there's giant mech suits. There's like constantly different things for you to fight, and that's pretty cool. And this is just the beta. There's going to be way more things to kill in the final game. So I definitely like the variety. It feels chaotic the entire time you're playing. It's definitely designed to have a full squad of heroes. If you were by yourself, for example, there's no way you could do it. You would just get completely swarmed. If it was just the Incredible Hulk versus all the enemies, there's like no way you could possibly do these missions. So they do a pretty good job of just, you know, making you feel like a superhero. You're going through, beating the crap out of tons of enemies, tons of explosions going off. The maps are well designed. You can travel through them fairly easily depending on your character. Black Widow has a grapple hook, Kamala can stretch her arms, Hulk can just jump everywhere, and then Iron Man can pretty much fly anywhere he wants. So I actually like the level design that's in this game. So now we're getting into the things that I did not like about the beta. And for starters, you know, sometimes you can just run in and button mash. You don't really have to think about what you're doing. Like if you want, you can just pick the Incredible Hulk, run into a crowd of enemies, and just spam buttons. And it kind of takes away from the fun knowing you can do that. Like it doesn't feel like you need to focus on the combo moves, especially when you upgrade the Hulk and you have like all these different combo abilities. You can literally just spam triangle, triangle, circle, triangle, and just any combination of buttons, and he pulls off these combos, and he's just doing massive amounts of damage. And you can totally do that. If you want to just play the entire game, run it in, button mashing, I don't see why you can't do that. So it is definitely pretty dumbed down. Anybody can play this game of all skill levels. You could be a noob, you could be a 4-year-old, you could be a 40-year-old. All you really have to do is button mash. So I don't really like that as much, but this game also has so many abilities that you don't have to button mash. If you want to sit back and actually time out your abilities, it is a little bit more rewarding. If you actually think about your combos, I know when I'm playing as Iron Man, I like to use my pulsars up close, and then you can switch on the fly. Like you can go from your repulsors to your laser beams to your rockets just with the push of a button. So you can pull off some mean combos where you like pulse the enemy away, switch to your rockets, and then hit them with a rocket as they're flying backwards. There's some mean, dirty combos you can do, and it feels a lot better when you actually time out and think about your abilities and you memorize the buttons and the controls for each hero, as opposed to just going in and button mashing. So I don't like the button mashing thing. Sometimes the camera can get a little wonky, especially when there's so many explosions and flashes going on. The camera will like super zoom in onto your character. Say you get ragdolled against the wall or something, the camera will just get too close to you. This is really bad with Hulk because he's so big. Let's say you're in a building with Hulk and you jump up and you hit the ceiling and you go to do a ground slam. Well, your camera gets thrown all weird, and then there's an explosion you can't see because you're like flash banged, and it's a little disorienting. I wish that they would do some tweaking to the camera. I don't necessarily know how they would change it for the better, but that is one of the gripes I have with this game, is that the camera can get a little stupid sometimes. So that's definitely a turn off. And then one of the major problems I have with this game is its loot system. I've seen this brought up a few times from early reviews from like IGN and Game Informer and stuff. They were all talking about the loot, and I gotta agree with them. The loot system feels kind of stupid. It doesn't change anything about your character, the way that they look. It just feels like it's tacked on. Now, yes, the loot can improve your stats. Like there's some gear that will increase certain abilities and stuff. So if you want to put on the gear and make your character stronger, that option's there. But you could totally just completely ignore the loot system if you wanted to and just go in and button mash every single mission. So if you really want to perfect your hero and you want to learn all their abilities and you personally memorized all their combos and you have the best gear, your hero is going to be pretty good. Like you have that option to make your character beefy. But the loot system just feels like it's tacked on. A lot of the crafting parts I didn't even realize I had. They just showed up in my inventory at random, and you can like upgrade your armor and you can like break down old existing armor. The only thing I can really compare it to as to like maybe Destiny or The Division, except in those games the loot actually changes what you're wearing and they change the way that you look. So just imagine you're playing Destiny or The Division and you change your guns or you change your outfits, but it doesn't change the way you look. It's just so weird. Now this game does have a number of different customization options, which I'm a fan of. They each have their own marketplace. Each character kind of has their own battle pass system, which I actually enjoy. It lets you like look ahead and see what all you can unlock, and there's daily challenges you can do, or you could use the currency to unlock pass as you go. So there are customization options for your heroes, it's just that the loot system doesn't change anything about the way that you look. So honestly, I wish that they would do some sort of overhaul to the loot system, make it feel like loot is worth a little bit more, because as I complete missions and I earn gear, I just don't care about it. There's a button you can push to automatically equip all the best gear, so you don't even have to go through and look through your gear. You can just push a button and equip the best one. So a lot of it just feels like it's kind of pointless. So basically, based off of this beta, my opinion is yes, it's a lot of fun. I know it's got that problem with Sony having Spider-Man as an exclusive. I think that's really scummy. I hate that they're doing that. That really screws over PC and Xbox players. But everybody does eventually get Hawkeye. There's going to be tons of content coming to this game. It is a live service approach, so there's going to continuously be updates coming to the game. And it feels like there's going to be a lot to do. We didn't get to play very much of Thor or Captain America in the beta. We got to play them in the tutorial mission, but from what little I did get to play with Thor, I can already tell that Thor is going to be one of my favorite heroes to use. So based off of this beta, I mean, I have a pretty good idea of what the game's going to play like. I think it's worth the $60, especially if you are a Marvel fan and you love these superheroes. I think you will really love this game. And it basically comes down to, I mean, did I have fun? That's the main goal. I mean, if a video game accomplishes that, if I had fun, which I did have fun, then I recommend it. I mean, if I was to rate this beta, I mean, I'd give this experience maybe like a 7 out of 10, which is a C. I mean, it's still passing. It's not like phenomenal. It didn't blow me away. It's not a perfect score, but it wasn't a bad beta. I mean, overall, it was a good experience. They could have done some things a little bit better, but I will still get the game nonetheless, and I'm pretty excited for it. And I think that there's a lot of potential for this game's final release. But that pretty much does it for my thoughts on the Avengers beta. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. Did you guys play the beta, or are you guys on Xbox and PC and you haven't got the chance yet? If you guys did play the beta, let me know what you guys think. And just overall, let me know if you guys are excited for this game. And then if you guys are new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell for notifications. It's greatly appreciated. Be sure to join the channel's Discord and follow me on Twitch at SonyPlaysGamesLive. And that is going to do it for me, everyone. And I will talk to you all in the next video.